Okay, guys, you've made it. We're on the Fearless Pursuit of Freedom podcast, and today I've got one of DFW's biggest wholesalers, biggest rehabbers. He's got massive goals. I want to introduce RJ Bates.
Hey, buddy. Thanks for having me on. And I'm super excited to be on. You got one of the best names for a podcast. I'm super jealous of it. So congrats on the new show.
I appreciate it. Well, the idea behind my podcast was I wanted to bring on entrepreneurs of all walks of life, but I'm in real estate. So I've got DFW real estate guys. So why don't you introduce yourself and kind of let's just dig into how long you've been into it, why you got into it, what your goals are. And then, of course, I got a bunch of questions for you.
So I'm RJ Bates. My company is Titanium Investments. We're based out of Fort Worth, Texas, but we actually do real estate investment properties across the country. I think we've done a total of like 15 different states. Right now, we're primarily focused on Texas, Arizona, Hawaii, Alaska, Oklahoma, and St. Louis, Missouri. All of those different markets were there for different reasons. We have strategic partners in those markets. And, we started our own business, me and Cassie, my partner. We started our own business in 2012. It was not real estate investing related. We were actually a consulting firm for general contractors, and we did supplements for their insurance claims. So basically, when a hailstorm comes through, hits roofs, windstorms, things like that, we were fighting the insurance companies to get the contractor more money on the project, and then we were just taking a spread of what we increased the claim amount. Over the course of time, we found out all of our employees had never been a contractor or a roofing salesman, so they didn't really know what they were arguing for. And I had this great idea. I'm like, I'm an entrepreneur. I can do whatever I want. Let's go sell roofs. So we just slapped on a DBA to our LLC, and we started selling some roofs. And Cassie sold this badass project out in Dallas by SMU. And when we got done with it, we just thought it was a one-time project. And I went and I collected the check from the homeowner, and he said, "Hey, do you remodel?" And I said, "Sure." And he said, "Cool, I'm flipping a house over here in North Dallas. The keys are in the mailbox. The project's yours. Just write me up a bid and let me know." So I went and looked at it. And to this day, and I mean, we've done hundreds of homes. It's still one of the worst houses I've ever seen for a flip. And Cassie and I walked in, and I remember the moment we sat down in the living room, and we just kind of sat down on the fireplace, and I was like, I have no idea how we're going to do this, but we're going to find a way. And we basically just subbed everything out to other contractors. Through that process, I kept asking our client, how'd you find this house? And he kept bringing up wholesaler. And, I'd go home and Google, like, what is a wholesaler? And I immediately fell in love with the concept, because I'm like, so this guy went out and found the house, did no work, and made a spread. And this guy bought it, and he has to do all of the work. And I quickly realized I was the worst guy in that transaction, because I was doing all of the work and I was making the least amount of money. So very quickly, I kind of hated being a contractor and wanted to become a real estate investor. So the more I started, I started going to networking events and these weekend seminars in the hotels. And, I just listened to a guy. He got up in front of the room, and he was like, here's how you determine what an ARV is. And then you multiply that by 0.7, and then you subtract your rehab, and then subtract your fee, and that's your offer.
Yeah.
And all I remember was he told me that, and I was like, done, got it. Walked right out, and I was like, this is what I'm doing in my life. And as I'm in the car, I'm on Zillow, and I'm texting agents offers. I mean, that's literally how quick we just jumped into it. And I didn't even really know what I was doing, but I was like, okay, he told me the formula, so I'm an expert now. And we finally got a property under contract in Arlington, Texas, straight off the MLS. And I made the offer at 70%, and I subtracted $7,000 for our fee. And didn't know how to sell a property, but I was told by numerous people, if you have a good deal, the buyers will come your way. So we put it on Craigslist, and I'm not joking, dude. It was within like a couple of hours of me posting it on Craigslist for sale. A guy calls me, and says, "Hey, man, I'm at your investment property that you have for sale on Craigslist. How can I get in the house?" Now, mind you, this is on the MLS. So there's a listing agent. I have my agent. I don't even know if someone was living in the house because I'd never seen it. I made the offer sight unseen. So I'm freaking out. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Let me call my agent and find out how you can get in the house. And he's like, no, don't worry about it, man. The back window is open. I'm crawling through right now. And I'm like, what is happening? I'm literally freaking out. I'm like, I don't know if I can get in trouble for this. Is this breaking and entering? Like, am I going to get sued? And he's like, oh, yeah, man, this house is a piece of shit. Like, yeah, I love it. I'll take it. Send me a contract. And I'm like, this is amazing. This is the easiest thing I've ever done in my entire life. Like, all I did was make an offer, put it on Craigslist. And I was like, if this is wholesaling, we're a wholesaler.
Oh, yeah.
And we wrote up the contract. And a couple of weeks later, went to title company, and it was so funny, man. Totally wore like the suit and tie. Thought that's what you had to do.
Yeah.
Showed up at the title company. I was so nervous, and I remember the escrow officer. She's still the escrow officer that we use, Dana Draper, and she came in and she was like, "Okay, sign. You're going to sign these documents to purchase. You're going to sign these documents to sell it, and then I'm going to write you a check." And you're going to get a check for $7,000. And I just could not believe it. And I was like, okay, but before I sign these documents, you promise me that if I sign them, I don't have to write you a check because I don't have $90,000 to write you today. You're just going to write me a check. And she's like, I promise. Just relax. So we closed the deal, and I got my check. And I remember I got in the car, and I had a roofing job going on in Denton. And I had to go do that job. And that entire project, that entire roofing project, the total price was $7,000. So out of that, I was probably going to make like $700 to $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got this check for $7,000 where I had no overhead, nothing. And I'm like, I'm going to go sweat. I'm going to move bundles of shingles. I have to go to Home Depot and buy a piece of plywood because I didn't order the right amount. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I'm so done. And that was basically August of 2014. And for the next 4 months, I basically just left Cassie in the construction business. And I was like, I'm going to go figure out real estate investing. And then January 1 of 2015, literally New Year's Day, we were working because we were that broke. And I told her, we're never selling another contracting job. We're going to go full time. And then that year we did $750,000 in wholesale fees. And
wow,
to this day, I mean, that's one of my proudest numbers. I know there's people out there that have done more, but over the course since 2012, we have continually year over year had growth as entrepreneurs, even though we've changed our business 3 separate times. We went from a consulting firm to a contractor to now a real estate investor. And every year we've had year over year growth. And so just that's kind of our story and how we got here. And since we've become Titanium Investments, man, it's just exploded. So that's kind of our little story that we have.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, so that 750, what'd that entail? How many wholesales?
So one thing that I always tell people is I don't keep track of how many properties we do, because honestly, it doesn't matter. And I know today, I think we've done, I'd have to go back and add it up. I think we've done like 400 properties. But, you know, I hear so often people say, hey, I did 100 deals last year. Well, that's great. What did you make? How much money did you make, though? Because that's what we're in this for, right? We're not in this for like milestones or, you know, little award. You don't get a little award saying, hey, I sold the property today. No, you get a check. So how much money did you make? And for us, it's always been about how can we monetize every property as much as possible while also keeping integrity with our numbers. You know, as a wholesaler, it really bothers me when I sell a property and it doesn't perform for my end buyer. And we've had some of those. I mean, just being completely honest. But we always try to avoid that. But we also are running a business and we try to monetize those leads as best as possible. So since day one, we've tried to keep it simple, stupid, and just stick to our formula. And that's what we're going to sell the numbers at. and whatever our cash buyer wants it for, if it's 75% ARV, 78, 73%, that's what we offer to them. And we hope that performs for them. But that first year, I would probably say, I don't know, we probably did something like 50 properties, something like that.
Yeah, I remember I got in the same mindset as that when Daniel Chad Moore, he told me, I'm sure he's told the story 1,000 times, but he did something like 89 wholesales his first year. And I was like, good Lord, like, how's that even possible? And he's like, yeah, it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
The next year I did half as much and made twice as much. And I was like, genius.
Right.
Pure genius.
You know, this year, like every January, like end of December, early January, I made my goals for this year.
Yep.
And this year I did it. I really thought about it. And I look back and I made a mistake back in January. I made a goal of we wanted to wholesale 2 properties per week. So we wanted to do 104 wholesales this year.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to hit that number, but we're not going to hit that number on purpose. We very quickly learned that because of the markets that we're in, that we have a better opportunity to not wholesale the properties and keep them and wholesale them and rehab them, and also keep them as rental properties. And so I kind of broke my own rule or the way of thinking. And it's funny how you could do that because I was influenced by other people. I heard all these people talking about, I'm going to do 200, I'm going to do 150. And I'm like, I want to do 104 and I want to do this many rehabs. But that was foolish of me because I was doing it for the wrong reasons. It wasn't because that's what our company actually needs to do or wants to do. And so I'm very much about what are we going to do revenue wise and then net profit wise compared to the amount of projects.
Right. Yeah. Well, that scratches one of my questions I had for you. I was going to ask you some stats, but since we're not keeping up with that, scratch. Okay.
That's funny.
And beforehand, we kind of, I touched on a couple of these questions. So I'll just dive into them really is, you've got a partnership and that partner's Cassie.
Yep.
And as you know, Ashley just quit her teaching job. And so I've struggled with, how am I going to implement her into the business? And we haven't really gotten into that yet. So I wanted to ask you, how do you and Cassie do it? How do you, you're two business owners with the same goal, but how do you implement yourselves to not step over each other's feet and ultimately at the end of the day, punch each other in the face? How do you get through the day?
Well, there's been plenty of days where we have punched each other in the face.
Of course. Yeah.
So it's taken time. We've been partners since 2012. At first it was as individuals, we were trying to figure out how we were just going to survive, like what can we do to make enough money to pay the bills?
Yeah.
And then when we got to Titanium Investments and we actually finally found a legitimate business that we were good at and we knew we were going to do something, really what it took is that Cassie took a back seat to me and she allowed me to go be the actual CEO, the visionary, the face of the business. And she's the person that does a lot of the grunt work and has had to bust her ass for 24 hours 7 days a week and allow me to go do things like this interview, and we've kind of gotten to the point now where we let Cassie get out there and do some more things, so she gets a lot of more credit today than she used to. But there was a point in time where people literally did not even think Cassie was like a part of our business. They just thought she was some girl like my girlfriend, which we're not even together.
Yeah.
People thought she was just my girlfriend that followed me around. And what she really does now is a lot different what she did in day one. Now she's a licensed realtor. So she does a lot of our listings. She writes a lot of contracts for us. She does a lot of things like that. She's also technically the broker. So she helps the other agents like Nikki and a couple others that we have. And really she's kind of fallen in that integrator role. Like, if you've ever read the book Traction, it's very big on visionary and the integrator. She's definitely fallen under the integrator and I'm the visionary. She kind of refers to me as a tornado freight train, and I'm always trying to expand the business and grow. And here's my great new idea.
Yeah, that's me.
Rein me in and be like, no, we're doing okay. Like, let's just focus on what we have and let's get systems and processes in place. So,
yeah,
she has her daily task, but the other thing that she really does well is she's a sounding board for me, and she has a way of kind of controlling my chaos that I create.
yeah.
And I think that would be good for Ashley to do for you, because y'all are together. And so I'm sure she kind of does that in your personal lives a little bit already.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think it would be that hard to kind of translate the business. But the other thing is just put Ashley in a position where she can also be successful and enjoys what she does.
Yeah.
Cassie enjoys what she does now. And that's kind of led to her blossoming within the business as well.
Right. Well, we've gone into how and why and the part of the leadership there. Let's dig into like kind of the business itself. I've got some just random questions.
Yeah.
We've already discussed off mic of a deal gone bad, and you kind of explained it on Facebook a little bit. But I mean, real estate isn't all glitz and glamour and making money all day, every day. And I know that I've had a lot of downfalls, and you being in the business 4 years, obviously some downfalls.
Yep.
And so let's hear about that bad deal that went bad yesterday on Facebook.
So I actually had two go bad. I'll go into the one that I think is probably more prevalent for someone to make the same mistake that I made. So we took a property down subject to the existing mortgage. It was a pre-foreclosure. It was going to the auction steps. They were $10,000 behind on payments. There wasn't enough margin in the property itself for it to be a flip or a wholesale. The only way it was going to work was a buy and hold, and we take it down subject to. This was a great fit. The seller was extremely happy. This is actually the first property that we ever took down subject to. And so we were kind of figuring out how to do this. We took the property, we sent it to Dana at title. She pulled the title commitment, and she rightfully told us everything that was on the title commitment. And I straight up misread the email. There's no other way to put it. I also didn't read the title commitment, which was my fault. She told us in the email there are 2 liens on the property and past due HOA fees. The way I read that was there's 2 liens on the property, the original mortgage and past due HOA fees. But there was a first mortgage, a second mortgage, and past due HOA fees.
Ouch.
So we took the property and we caught up what was in arrears. We paid the HOA, past due HOA fees, and didn't even know that there was a $35,000 second mortgage because he modified his loan. And the crazy thing about it is he didn't even know that he had done this. He went out, he modified his loan, and all he knew is when he modified his loan that his payment went down. He did not take the time to understand the reason why his payment went down is because HUD paid and put a second lien for $35,000 on the property.
Yep.
And so yesterday we were refinancing this property, and we were going to do an equity pull on it, and we were going to get about $40,000 in equity pulled out of the property. And when the settlement statement came over, it was not 40, it was 5. And saw the second lien on there for $35,000. And I called Dana, and I'm like, Dana, what is going on? Like, you pulled title on this 2.5 years ago. And she's like, I sure did. And here's my email where I showed you there's 2 liens on the property. And it sucked, but it's also a lesson learned. We'll never make that same mistake. And I've actually used this property where I've bragged about what great of a deal we got on the property and how much equity we got in it. And now looking at it, I'm like, man, that was so dumb of me because we just made a rookie mistake at the time. But the great thing about it is it's not going to negatively impact our business other than the fact that we're just not getting the equity pull that we thought. We still have a great rental property. We still have plenty of equity in it. And it's a lesson learned. So for anybody out there, if you're doing a subject to, make sure that you actually read the title commitment to make sure you know all of the liens on the property.
Yeah, because the seller almost always never knows.
Right.
And they have no idea why their payment went down. They're just thanking the Lord that the payment went down.
Exactly. That's what he told us yesterday when we called him. He was like, no, I would have known if I got a check for $35,000. And we're like, you didn't get a check for $35,000. You have a lien on the property. The bank that you weren't paying got a check for $35,000.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh man, I all I knew was my payment went down.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't magically just go down.
Yeah, they don't understand how it worked. They're just thankful.
Right.
But,
so it is what it is, man. Lesson learned.
Yeah, yeah. So we've seen that you're gone in the wholesaling. We've talked about subject to just now.
Yep.
I think we touched on flipping. Are you buying mobile homes out there or here?
No, we don't buy mobile homes, but we do buy single family rentals pretty regularly. I see people doing the mobile homes, and just honestly right now, it's just not something that we fully understand. And because we have so many different things that we're doing between the wholesaling and the fix and flips and the single family rentals, there's not really a need for us to get into that right now. As crazy and chaotic and as much as I want to do everything, there is a part of me where it's like, okay, we got to stay focused because what we are doing is working. And so we're just staying laser focused on what we're doing with single family right now. I think the next transition for us would be to go into multifamily. Probably not in DFW just because of how it is right now, but some of the other sub markets that we're in, we're going to look at multifamily.
Yeah. You said Ohio?
No, so Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Alaska, and Hawaii would probably be the areas that we're going to see. I just got back from Alaska. There's a ton of opportunity up there. We actually saw a couple of burnouts on some multifamily that we're currently trying to get a hold of the right person to see if we can make offers on them. But, just right now in Phoenix and in DFW, it's just a little bit too competitive. People are willing to overpay a little bit on multifamily. So that's why we're staying away from it here.
Yeah. So that kind of goes into the expansion goals. If you're not, multifamily is where you're at. So you're not in multifamily at all right now?
No, just single family.
Mm-hmm. And within those, sorry, go for it.
Yeah. So basically we've expanded pretty quickly. I keep talking about all these different markets that we're in. And I get asked all the time, like, how are you doing stuff in Hawaii and Alaska? We didn't just randomly pick those states because they're great vacation spots. I had people in my life from my childhood that are great partners for us. Elijah is my partner in Hawaii. He's my best friend since 5th grade, and he's a contractor. I mean, that was a no-brainer for us, and that's why we're able to rehab as many properties as we are in Hawaii right now. In Alaska, I had a childhood friend who's a realtor. He's flipped his own houses. He just flipped his own personal property, and I went and saw it. He did a great job, and he's already crushing it as a realtor up there. So that made sense for us. And immediately once we opened Titanium Investments of Alaska, we're cherry picking them off the MLS, which is amazing. I love that. No marketing dollars, and we're getting great deals. And Arizona, we expanded out there, and we were able to make a connection with a great realtor out there, Jeremy Dimmers, and that's kind of allowed us to go to Arizona. So these different markets, we had boots on the ground, and that other property that we took a loss on yesterday, that's what's enabled us to do the expansion that we have. That property was in San Antonio, Texas. It was the first property that we ever did remotely outside of DFW, and we tried to rehab it. and we lost our ass on it because contractors, I mean, there's no other way to put it. Contractors just screwed us left and right. We probably did everything on the house 4 times.
Yeah.
That's no joke. I mean, even like flooring, we had to replace like 4 times.
Jesus.
So that being said, what we learned is if you don't have proper boots on the ground, someone there that understands and cares about that property as much as you do, then it's going to set you up for failure. And we put systems and processes in place that when we had opportunities come up like Hawaii or Arizona or Alaska, we knew what to do based off that failure. So I look back at that property and yeah, it stings to have to write a check to get rid of a property. But I also look at the opportunity that it created for us, and it forced us to put processes in place that have now enabled us to go out and do hundreds of properties in other markets that we can do with confidence, 100% confidence, because of that experience in San Antonio. So even though it sucks to write that check, I'm actually glad that we did that property.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't have known otherwise. You could have happened at a handful more times in different markets. That'd be more painful,
right?
So that made me think about these types of partnerships in these other areas. Are you bringing them in on as business or equity partners on a specific property, and who's bringing the funding? I would assume you, right?
So the way we do it is everybody is the exact same. So we actually create a separate entity in the market. So Titanium Investments of Hawaii LLC is a separate entity from Titanium Investments here in Texas. And Elijah is an equity owner in that business. Same thing in Alaska. Elijah and Pete are equity. Arizona, Jeremy's equity. I would never want to get in a position where I'm wanting someone to act like an owner and they're not an owner. And to me, these strategic partners open up the opportunity for us to do so much more. And I very much view it as creating a family. You know, I want Elijah to work with Jeremy in Arizona, and I want Jeremy to work with Pete in Alaska. And I want them to talk to each other, and we build systems and processes together. So as a collective unit, we can continue to grow. And it's worked so far. I love how everybody's attitude has kind of gone towards it, and they, you know, that someone will see someone's success in another market and they're happy for them, and you know, you chat back and forth, and that's amazing. And we just want to continue that kind of growth and bringing people into the organization that are going to continue that.
Yeah. Right.
So it's I was on Tucker Maryhugh's podcast, the Real Deals podcast, and he asked me, he goes, "So are you trying to become like the new Homevestors franchise?" And I laughed because I was like, I never really thought about it that way. It wasn't the intention, you know, it was more along the lines of, hey, we have an opportunity to do something really cool in Arizona. Hey, we have something to do really cool in Hawaii. And now it's kind of continued to grow. Now we have opportunities in Alabama, New Mexico, Wyoming. So these are kind of the new markets that we're looking at. I never thought that I would ever say I'm looking at opening a business in Alabama or Alaska, but because of the people, because of our track record, and utilizing social media, man, it's amazing, and getting that word out there. These opportunities have kind of come our way.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, I think I've talked about social media on all the podcasts so far. It's just so powerful. Yeah,
it really is, man. And, you know, I get people to reach out to me. I mean, I was telling you, you know, I have my own podcast, and I release an episode every Friday. And we jumped on here at 9 a.m. this morning to record this. At 8:45 this morning, I received a text message from someone that said, "Hey, man, the episode that you dropped this morning inspired me to go out, and I'm going to go make it happen. Like, I'm going to become a wholesaler, and I'm going to quit my job, and I'm going to do this."
Yeah.
And that person wouldn't even know who I am if it wasn't for social media. Yeah. Like, and seeing that, I mean, that is beyond powerful, man. Like, I don't care what happens the rest of the day. Like that text message right there just made my day. And
that's
unless I
feel
have
good
to
right
write
there.
another check for $35,000.
Yeah. No, that's a feel good. I like that.
Yeah.
I haven't got anything, any messages that are life changing like that, but every once in a while I get, something similar. And I'm
Okay,
like,
buddy.
man,
It's because you haven't released my episode yet.
yeah, not quite, not quite. Yeah. That's awesome. So you don't track numbers as far as how many wholesales you've done. Um, I won't go too deep into the structuring of your business, but do you use VAs? And I know that you do have some in house.
Yeah. So we have a pretty extensive kind of organization now. I mean, it's rapidly growing just because of the different markets. So, like locally here in DFW, we have me and Cassie, and then we have Cassie's mom, Nikki, who works for us. She's an office manager / realtor, and then we have Lindsay, who's our personal assistant. She actually worked for us at Fairway Solutions when we first got started. And then when we became a contractor, we didn't need her anymore, so we had to let her go. And our lives kind of came back together with Titanium, and so she's back with us. And we have Mark, who is our field manager, project manager. He goes out and manages all of our local rehabs. And then we have Megan, who is she's remote. She's in Austin, Texas, but we call her a property analyst. And she's all over social media, finding deals from wholesalers. She searches the MLS for properties and things like that. So we got 2 properties under contract in Alaska yesterday, and she found both of those properties for us. So that's kind of the role that she finds for us or
Awesome.
performs for us. And then in Hawaii, we're building a similar organization there. We now have 2 full-time employees. We're probably going to be bringing on 4 project managers in Hawaii. Wow. Because we just literally have that much opportunity out there. And I mean, every day we're getting a property under contract. I mean, it's absolutely insane. So we're going to have to ramp up on the contracting side of things there.
Yeah.
And in Alaska, we're going to be hiring a assistant for Pete. And in Arizona, let's hope that it stops being so damn competitive so we can get Jeremy some help out there. But right now it's just really hard. So as far as using VAs, we use them. We don't have them like on a regular basis. It's more like one-off scenarios if we need something skip traced or, social media, if we want to roll out some kind of campaign or, something along those lines. We do have a VA that does all of our logos and things like that kind of keep things uniform because every market has its own like different branding. So we have one that we utilize for that. But really, I probably don't utilize VAs as much as I should. I look at guys like you and Brad Chandler and Connor Steinbrook, and I'm like, damn, man, these guys are just crushing it by using VAs. So I think at some point in time, I need to pick your brain to figure out what task you're putting on there. Brad Chandler dropped just a beautiful dime on me the other day, though. He was like, sit down, write out 48 hours of your day. If it's anything that you would pay less than $100 an hour for, it needs to be a virtual assistant's job. And he said that's for every real estate investor out there. So if you would not pay someone more than $100 an hour to perform that job, a VA needs to be doing it.
Holy crap. $100. That's almost doctor wages.
Yeah. Well, he considers us, me, you, any owner of a real estate investment firm, at least $100 to $500 an hour position. So he said, outside of that, you need to outsource it to a VA. And I think he has like 26 VAs working for him. So this isn't like he's just spewing some BS. Like he actually believes in it. And he does 200 wholesales a year. So averaging $37,000 a wholesale. I think the guy knows what he's talking about.
That's a little incredible, yeah.
Right. So I'm like, okay, I think we should probably look at getting more VAs.
Yeah. Man, that's some amazing numbers right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Get
Okay.
him on the
So
podcast.
yeah, I was
He'll
going to
be
say
way
Brad
better than me.
Chandler's coming on the
Yeah,
podcast, so I
he'll be
can.
way better than me.
Man.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty crazy, man.
I'm baffled by that now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I literally afterwards, like I had to do the math because I was like, that's too many deals. Like, I don't even know what that adds up to. And I did the math and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And he's paying people $3.50 an hour to work for him. Right.
Wow.
It's mind blowing. So
The team that I have over there, they work for several people, but I think I'm at like 4 VAs. Well, I got my guy that edits my podcast now, and then the 2 or 3 gals that do my everyday tasks. I might have like 4, but I think they rotate who does everything. But I've got them doing everything on my back end, from marketing, cold calling, the ringless voicemails, texting, all my data scrubbing. They go into Propelio, they pull those lists, they send the mailers, they do everything that used to take me till 2 a.m. to do every single day on a daily basis.
that's awesome.
And yeah. So I believe in VAs fully and plan to keep adding more on, the more things I can think of for them to do.
Just so you know, when you get up to 26 VAs, you need to be doing 200 deals a year at $37,000 a pop.
Yeah, that's my goal now. I'm going to hashtag 37,000 average wholesale.
I know.
Holy crap. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you're in a whole bunch of markets now. I know people are going to ask me, or at least I'm thinking it. Obviously, you're not using hard money loans. You're getting private money, bank lines, credit. How are you managing the money aspects for pulling off so many projects?
We do it all, man. I'm not opposed to hard money loans. I mean, we take hard money loans down here in Texas. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Easy Street Capital. I love those guys. They give me some great terms, and they close quickly. We utilize some hard money loans, like in Alaska. Mm-hmm. We're going to start using ICG 10 because we can get at like 8.9% interest. So it's almost not even a hard money loan if you think about it.
And that's local to the markets?
Nope. They're in 44 states.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that was a good find. I never knew about them until I was like, I had to find somebody in Alaska.
Yeah.
And well, they're in 44 states, so they popped up. Awesome. But yeah, we do a lot of private money as well. Obviously, we're getting to a certain level of where we're tapping out our private money because we continue to get more deals.
Yeah.
But lines of credit are also important. You can take down a rental property, find a way to get a significant amount of equity, and then pull a line of credit on what's remaining there. We're doing that. I'm actually doing that today on a property in Fort Worth. So that's important as well. But just kind of like a couple of tips on raising private money, because I know people always ask for that. Mm-hmm. Some of the best tips that I've ever got were given, and I did not come up with these myself, but I've utilized them and they work, is don't ever ask for money. Like, don't ever go up to your, doctor friend or your attorney friend or somebody that you know that has money and say, hey, man, I've got this property over here and I need $100,000 because it's probably going to be a pretty big turnoff to that person. What really works is everybody wants to talk about real estate, right? I mean, if you're in real estate investing and you're doing some pretty cool stuff, they're going to bring it up to you more often than not. And it just opens up the door for you to have the conversation and say, man, I've got this deal over here in Alaska and I just need like $40,000 to close on it. Do you know anybody that would be willing to invest $40,000 to get like a 10 to 12% return on their money?
Yeah.
And what'll happen is that person will be like, yeah, man, why aren't you asking me? I'd be open for that. I have money sitting in an IRA over here. And it's like, oh, cool. Like that. Inevitably, it almost works every time, where if they have the money and they're actually open to it, it's almost like they're semi-offended that you didn't ask them.
Yeah.
And like they really want to perform for you because it's like, no, I got to prove to them that I actually have the money and I want to do this. And so that's one of the best tips on raising money. And then the other thing is I mean, I know we've already talked about it a little bit, but utilizing social media, man. If you're out there and you're doing deals, even if it's just wholesaling, take pictures of your deals. Talk about how you structured the deal, how you made money on it, what were you doing, and do Facebook lives through properties. I know you've done several Facebook lives through some just straight gnarly properties, and it kind of went like semi-viral a little bit, and it just gets people paying attention to what you're doing. And then when you actually get face to face to them, they want to talk more about it, and then they want to get to know what you're doing, and it just opens up the door to raising private money that way.
Yeah, that's awesome. I kind of had a similar situation when I was in Peru. Obviously, it's 9 guys together. We're all talking about what we do, and surprisingly enough, quite a few of us were actually in some form of real estate, but I was the only flipper there.
Right.
And one guy had just sold his CNC machine and retired at 47, and so I was just talking about projects, how I raise my money, how I get not private money, but hard money, which is kind of private money. And he was like, "Hey, man, I just retired with a bunch of money, and I don't know what I'm doing in life besides traveling. You mind if I get on some of the next deals?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course."
Exactly.
And with him being not local and not needing to see the properties, and it just opened my eyes. Is now I want to be the next RJ Bates and expand into another state.
and the other thing is pay attention to the stories that people tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're going to tell you their cool stories as well. And, I've had stories where people tell me, I've got this house over here and it's completely paid off.
Yeah.
Hey, would you like to have a conversation about how you could utilize that property to make money for yourself?
Yeah.
Sure. And then you could talk about them pulling out a line of credit on that property, utilizing that equity to be a private money investor for you. But above all else, just make sure if you're raising private capital, you're a steward for their money just as much as you are for your own. I mean, there's nothing worse than an investor that does not take care of their private monies. Investors, this is more often not like their life savings.
Yeah.
And you need to make sure that you respect that and cherish it more so than you would your own money.
More so. Yeah.
I've kind of talked about a couple of deals where we lost money. My private money investors did not lose a dime. If anything, they actually made a shit ton more money than they would. It took so long for me to sell the property. So just make sure that that's kind of in the forefront of your mind when you go out and you start raising private money.
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't be very long in the business at all if you're losing money, aside from losing your private people money.
Absolutely.
You're gone in no time.
Yep.
Well, I'm curious because I'm struggling with marketing right now, and I know a ton of people, whether they've been in the business 30 years or 30 days, is marketing.
Yep.
My marketing right now, I've actually done great on social media. It's free. I do some direct mail, but I've been extremely nervous to pull a trigger on big budgets. And so right now I'm probably spending, I don't know, less than $2,000 on actual direct mail. And, I don't want anybody on my podcast to ever spill their secrets, but if you've got some insight on how a newbie can jump in and get in front of motivated sellers, that'd be cool.
So there's several different ways that we do it. And first of all, direct mail is always going to be the big dog when it comes to marketing. Just no matter what. I mean, you're able to get in front of more people that way. And so we do direct mail pretty consistently. And we found in some outside of DFW, direct mail usually does better. So like we did direct mail in Hawaii and we got like a close to 5% response rate.
Wow.
Which is probably 5 times what it is here in DFW.
Yeah.
But I'm a huge advocate for digital marketing, and we've gotten properties through Facebook ads and pay-per-click. And I know every time I talk about this, everybody kind of rolls their eyes and they're like, yeah, Facebook ads, I tried it. I cannot tell you how many times I've had people be like, yeah, man, I ran a Facebook ad for like $150 and I didn't get one lead from it. And it's like, okay, bro, go send out $150 in postcards and see how many calls you get.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, you have to actually give it a chance. But I will share an example of this. God dang, dude, these things just keep falling out of my ear. Sorry, guys. This is what I'm going to look like.
I know that's been me this whole time. Every time I smile, they pop out of my ear.
I know. We had a Facebook ad campaign that we just ran in Burleson and Crowley, Texas. And we were so targeted on our demographics to the actual people that we only spent $5 on the entire campaign. But we got a lead out of it, and we made it an offer sight unseen. The seller begged me to come out and view the property because she feels like all I need to do to flip it is paint and carpet. And she swears her kitchen and her bathrooms are the nicest in the neighborhood, and I just need to come see it.
Yeah.
And we're only like $8,000 off on price. So I'm going out there on Monday to check that out. But that's a lead for $5. And that doesn't always happen. But that's the power that you can get with digital marketing compared to like postcards. You know, if you're going to do direct mail, you're probably not ever going to just send out $5 in direct mail. You're going to send out a bulk campaign. But you can really control your cost through digital marketing. And I know you and I are both Investor Carrot clients.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Investor Carrot. And one of the tools that Investor Carrot has is that for your motivated seller sites or any site, but I utilize it majority of the time for motivated seller site, is you can create a campaign in there that gives you a specific link for your different marketing. So if you do a Facebook ad campaign for, Burleson, and then you do another one for Fort Worth, you can actually go on your Investor Carrot stats on your campaigns, and it will show how many clicks you're actually getting on that campaign. So you're not trusting Facebook to tell you. You're trusting your website to tell you how many people actually went to your site, and then it shows you what did they do while they were on your site. How many different links did they click on? How long were they there?
Yeah.
And what I've known, what kind of like our rule of thumb is we do a Facebook ad campaign and we give it about 24 hours. And if I'm not getting clicks to my website, then something's wrong. And I stop it. And I'll change the zip code. I'll change some demographic. Facebook ads fatigue very quickly.
Yeah.
So you have to constantly be changing them and evolving and paying attention to your stats. So it's a very, it's something that I control, and I'm a little bit of a control freak in my business, but that would be something that I would not outsource to someone else. And I kind of got chewed up and spit out at a mastermind recently when I said that to the people, but I was also the only person that could sit there and say, I've got multiple properties from Facebook ads.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you keep trying to outsource it to someone else, but because we manage it in-house and we pay attention to what's happening, that's how we're consistently getting deals. And so all we do is we just keep paying attention until we hit that sweet spot to where, okay, now we're getting clicks over and over and over to our website.
Yeah.
And then if you're getting clicks to your website, you need to be getting leads pretty quickly thereafter. If you're getting a bunch of clicks and you're not getting leads, either something's wrong with your website or your demographic, you're getting the wrong people to click on your website.
Yeah.
So that's kind of our big thing about digital marketing.
Yeah, that brings up Facebook again, because on a daily basis, I'm struggling on, man, am I a Facebook addict, or am I doing this for business? Because, man, literally, I forget the numbers now, but last year, I know for 100% sure that I bought 3 houses and wholesaled probably 6 others off of Facebook.
Yep.
Off of either through my network or something I posted in a group. I've recruited a lot of bird dogs off of Facebook. I had one bird dog bring me a deal that I made 70 grand on because she lives in the neighborhood and took a picture of a shitty house.
Yep.
So I'm like, man, Facebook is it's beyond powerful. And aside from me just being able to recruit bird dogs off of there, I don't know that I would even have a business at all if I didn't have Facebook.
Yeah.
Because I mean, a lot of investors have built a business without building a brand, but I think a part is that part of the future is building that brand and getting a public image out. And I
Absolutely.
think social media is extremely powerful.
I mean, if you follow me on Facebook, if you follow Titanium Investments on Facebook, you'll know that we're flipping this house that we call the castle.
Yep.
We got the castle through Facebook.
Oh yeah. Really?
I mean, yeah.
Awesome.
We got it from a wholesaler. He posted, "Hey, who likes to buy houses in Tanglewood in Fort Worth?"
Mhm.
I private messaged him and said, "I do." Which, by the way, you have to be smart about how you do that kind of stuff. Like, I didn't comment on his post because that was just going to boost his algorithm on how many people see it. And I wanted
Exactly.
to buy the house in Tanglewood, so I private
Yep.
messaged him.
There is a lot of secrets of
Yeah,
Facebook
you
about
got to play the game, man. And
algorithms.
so I
Yeah.
private messaged him, and his post didn't really take off because he doesn't utilize Facebook correctly, and he doesn't really post that often. And I was really the only person that ever saw that property before we bought it.
Yeah.
Like, I was the only person that showed up, and I walked it. I actually got to meet the sellers. And that's how we got that property. And now we're done rehabbing it. We're just waiting for someone to buy it from us. But,
Yeah.
you know, I look back and I can name, you know, a lot of properties that we've gotten directly from Facebook.
Yeah.
We've actually even gotten a deal from Instagram.
Really?
Yeah,
That's cool.
we ran a Facebook ad. And I remember when I ran the Facebook ad, it was like right when Facebook and Instagram ads kind of merged together.
Yep.
It was like, "Do you want to run this on your Instagram?" And I was like, "Sure." And I
That's
ran
cool.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was so mad because, like, as soon as I did it, my phone was blowing up constantly. Like, random Joe Blow just liked your post on Instagram. And I'm like, dude, I'm just paying for a bunch of people to like this post
Yeah.
on Instagram. And then as soon as I said that, like 2 hours later, we got a lead where it was like, boom, from Instagram, motivated seller. And we ended up taking the property down subject to, and then we still own the property today. So,
Yeah. That's awesome. I
yeah.
almost got one on Instagram once. I got a direct message from a countertop distributor about he inherited property. He ended up keeping it himself, and I don't know where he went with it since, but he almost sold to me, and I was like, man, that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
I didn't see the power in Instagram. I just thought it was like, oh, show your pictures and
Right.
help with branding is what I used it for, and
Yep.
that's pretty cool.
It's really cool when you see like social media actually pay off that way.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you, man. There's times where I'm like, am I addicted? Like,
what the hell am I doing right now?
why do I have to check Facebook like every 10 minutes?
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Yeah.
And there's times where it's like, okay, this will be the only place I ever say this, okay? But the other day,
You heard it here first on Fearless Prop.
yeah, right here. This is totally like my setup when I'm interviewing people for my podcast. And this guest started to tell a story. And I don't know why I did it. I was totally listening to what he said, but I had my phone sitting right next to me, and I pull it up and I'm like, swipe open, Facebook, checking my notifications. And I'm like, what am I
in the door?
like, I'm on an interview. I'm the host. So, yeah, there's definitely times where I kind of wonder if I'm addicted as well. But then I see, things come through to us through business, the private money deals, things like that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, that's kind of what can cause an addiction. I'm addicted to my business as well. And
Yeah.
when the two kind of, meet heads and they benefit each other, well, there you go.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's a daily struggle. I think a lot of people are in the same shoes. They just got to figure out a way to monetize it, and at least we've done that.
Sometimes I'll like a post and it'll be like 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, dude, I wonder if that guy's like thinking like, what's RJ doing? Like at 10 o'clock in the morning, just like liking and commenting on my post. Like, why aren't you working, bro?
Yeah. Hey, I tell Ashley all the time, it's branding and daily content.
Exactly.
Man, I don't even know if there's a timer on these things, but I don't want to keep you too long, but I still have a bunch of questions.
That's cool, man.
But we'll dig into the big ones. You've got a new hashtag that I love.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people misunderstand it. You've got a hashtag 100K a net a month. And we need to clear the air. Is that gross or net?
It is net, and it's net passive income.
There we go.
We're not talking about our flips. We're not talking about our wholesales. We're talking about these are passive income, single family rental properties, multifamily, whatever creates passive income for us.
True passive.
We want to net $100,000 a month, so $1.2 million a year. And this came to me. This is not my idea. This came to me from a mastermind that I went to in Fresno, California. It was Don Costa's mastermind.
Yeah.
And, I met some great guys out there, Manny and Beto. They're out of Central California. And Beto kind of took me out after we'd been there. I think it was the second day we were there. And we were kind of just taking a break to stretch our legs. And, we're in California, so it felt great outside. We walk out front. We're at a golf course. We're just kind of walking around. He kind of came up and he grabbed me. He said, "Hey, man, I want to talk to you about something." And he's like, dude, to this day, like, have you ever seen Doctor Strange, the movie Doctor Strange?
Yeah, the newest one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that part where like Doctor Strange is like finding out about magic and she like hits him in the chest and he like totally floats out from his body and then like comes back and he's like, "Teach me magic." Like that moment totally happened to me. And that's totally a nerd thing that I just shared. But that totally happened. Like he like hit me in the chest right there. And he just kept hitting me. And I don't know what it was about him hitting me right there in the chest that like really meant something to me, because he'll never know that, even though I've told him. I don't think he actually knows what it meant.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Dude, you're a badass." And he's like hitting me in the chest and he's like, "Your goals, they're weak, bro. They're weak. Like you were better than that." And I'm like he was like, he was speaking to my soul or something, man. And I'm like, damn, dude, like I'm like, crazy over here. I'm like, we're going to Hawaii and Alaska, and this guy's telling me like, "Bro, you're like small time, like you need to think bigger." And he's like, "You need passive income." He's like, "I lost everything in 2007 and 2008. He's like, "I had the suit, $1,000 suit, the fancy car, I had $1,000 shoes on." And he was like, "I thought I was a badass because I was flipping and wholesaling and doing all this shit that didn't matter." He's like, "I had no passive income and the market crashed. I was left with nothing." He's like, "I was walking around with my $1,000 shoes with holes in them because I couldn't buy any more shoes.
Yeah.
And I'm getting out of my fancy car that I haven't paid in 2 months, and they're about to repo, and I can't do anything because I have no passive income." He's like, "Don't be like me." He's like, "I don't know if the crash is ever going to happen again, or I don't know if it's going to be as crazy as it was then. You need passive income." He's like, "Right now, your new goal, 100,000 a month net." And I kind of laughed, like, I'm like, "Shouldn't I start with like 10?
Yeah.
He's like, he like hit me in the chest again. He's like, "Why are you so weak?" Like, oh my God, dude.
This guy's awesome.
I'm like, dude, this is like intense right now. Like, this is a life-changing moment, And I'm like, okay, I got it. And he's like, "Don't be weak. Be like me. Be strong. Go out there, make it happen. 100,000 a month." And I'm like, okay. And
This guy's like a monk.
He's like, "Gross is weak. Net. Go make it happen." Okay. So I came back and it's like, dude, I've been obsessed with it ever since. It's like every day I'm like, what can we do? Like I get a lead and it's like, okay, we can flip it or we can make this much, but what about rent?
Yeah.
Can we rent it? And dude, we've been able to do some crazy stuff now. Now we've got rental properties in St. Louis and Tulsa and Hawaii and we're taking stuff down here in Texas where originally we probably would have looked at it and been like, this is a good wholesale or this is a good flip. And now it's like, no, it's a great rental. Like we need to keep this. And I actually saw a post on Facebook yesterday where a guy, he was like, I think the guy said he was like worth $8 million, or he had $8 million liquid cash or some number like that. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was something way larger. But he said, "How did you get to where you are?" And he goes, "Because I never sell my houses. I keep them all."
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's that simple, just sometimes we look at the bigger numbers, and we look at, well, I could flip this and I can make $40,000 or $50,000. And just that moment with Beto kind of made me realize that that was just small-minded thinking. And now we own a little bit over 100 properties. And at the time when I met him, I think we had like 9. And
wow.
So yeah, his Beto, I'm forever thankful, brother. You changed the trajectory of my life. So the 100K net a month, hashtag. I've gotten some shit for it. Some people think that I'm just saying that's what we're trying to do at Titanium Investments, but this is for passive income, not
Yeah,
gross revenue or anything like that.
man. Well, that goes right into my next question: is big milestones, and obviously the passive is one of those big milestones. But do you have any others that you've achieved, or have any future ones that are coming up that you just can't wait to share?
Um, I think selling the castle will be a huge milestone for us.
Yeah,
To be able to rehab a property like that, and then it would also be the first property that I've rehabbed and sold for over $1 million. I think that would be probably not something that I want to duplicate anytime
yeah,
soon, but it would be a cool achievement. Um, Also, just I mean, I'm so proud of what we've been able to do with the expansion and like in Hawaii and Alaska. I mean, to be honest with you, man, there's times where I hate to say it this way, but I'm almost kind of like numb to what we do.
mm,
Like, and then I have to step back and I have to be like, dude, like I literally am flipping like 15 houses in Hawaii right now and rehabbing 30 properties in St. Louis. And I've got one in Alaska and we're contracted on 4 more. And like those things, I don't know if those are considered milestones or not, but when I actually think about it, it's like, man, that is absolutely insane. And I love what we're able to do with Titanium. But outside of all of that, I don't know if this is a good time for us to talk about it or not, but I'm going to throw it in there. Probably the thing that I'm most proud of and the biggest milestone that we'll ever be able to achieve is what we do with our golf tournament, the Titanium Golf Classic here locally to DFW. Super excited that Brandon came on this year. It was very generous. He's going to be sponsoring the longest drive. That's right, right? You're doing the
yeah,
longest drive.
yeah. Well, I gotta go get my golf game on so I can win it.
But what we do with that, man, is for everybody that's listening, we bring real estate investing together as a community to raise funds for our nonprofit organization called Beat Kids Cancer. All the funds we take from that golf tournament and other events that we do, and it directly impacts families that are currently undergoing treatment in Fort Worth, Texas. I'm not allowed to say what hospital, but it's the really big one that helps all the kids in Fort Worth. And we help them out. We pay their mortgages, their rents, their electric bills, their water bills, their car payments, whatever bill is like really impacting their family. Because what people don't understand is when these kids are diagnosed with cancer and they start receiving treatment, more often than not, at least one of the parents is not allowed to leave that hospital for a significant amount of time. And in today's society where majority of families need 2 incomes, that basically kills that family financially. And
Oh yeah,
so outside of the child having cancer and battling that, a lot of times families have multiple kids. These other kids are negatively impacted. They don't have food on the table. We just stopped an eviction from a property earlier this week where the family, is receiving treatment and they didn't pay their rent. And so they were going to get evicted and we stopped that. So just a shout out to that. That's probably our greatest milestone right there is that we were able to put together, we had our first tournament last year. We're still using funds that from that tournament that we raised. And, October 1st at Bear Creek Golf Club is where it's going to be this year. Reach out to Brandon or myself if you're interested in joining us, coming on as a player or a sponsor. But that to me is last year when I gave my speech at that golf tournament, that will probably be one of the best moments of my life. Just looking out and seeing people that I knew through Facebook, and the great thing about it is we're all like competitors. Like we're all in this industry. We're all trying to find houses to buy, and we all came together and really made it a difference, man. And seeing these families send me pictures of their kids wearing the Beat Kids Cancer shirts and, smiling. And them telling us their stories about how their lives were impacted by all of us coming together. That's probably the biggest milestone that we've had to date.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I think it's super awesome. Um, the same thing with my Peru trip. I'm like, why am I going to make so much money if I'm not going to give back to those less fortunate?
Right.
Whether right here in our own backyard or anywhere in the world. And I just think it's extremely selfish to be making money and not giving back. And so I love organizations like your own that are doing what I believe in.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, man, like I say, getting that text from the podcast, getting pictures sent to Beat Kids Cancer's Facebook page, because they're unexpected. It's like
Yeah.
we give the money, we don't really expect anything in return, but then to get a picture and it's like the kid's wearing the shirt and it's like, hey, he's in remission now, and his scans came back clear, and thank you guys because we were able to keep our family car because you made the car payment. That there's nothing better than that, man. I don't care how big of a check is written to me. The money comes in, money goes. But that moment will never escape my memory.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
man, hopefully there's more people that comes on and sponsor that. I think it's really cool because, like you were saying, a lot of families rely on two incomes, and if one's stuck at the hospital, I mean, money is, no matter who you are, everybody needs more money,
right.
And it's a huge stress point on anybody's life, relationship, family, everything. And if they can just step back and know somebody's coming in to help.
Yep.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, man, this year, I guess it's because it's the second year. It's been really easy for us to get sponsorships. We're almost sold out. I think we only have like 5 total sponsorships left.
Yeah.
And like 4 of those are whole sponsors, which are like the cheapest ones. And I mean, so I'm pretty confident that those are going to be able to go. It's just really amazing to see. And honestly, I ask other investors about this. I'm like, is it like this in Phoenix or Indianapolis or, other markets? Truly, man, I think it's like a DFW thing. The community that we have, like I see the interactions that we have on like Facebook groups, like Roughneck to Real Estate and all these different groups that we have and like the Propelio meetups that we go to.
Yeah.
I don't think they have that in other markets. And so it's just, I feel extremely blessed to be a part of that community and to see everybody come together and just, like I said, competitors all come together for a good cause. And it really, it's amazing to be a part of. I don't think that we would be able to accomplish it if we were in, if we were based out of Phoenix, Arizona. I don't know if we'd be able to get the same results.
Yeah, it's weird. I feel the same way when, like my next move, I think, is I want to expand into Salt Lake.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go out there. I'm going to join all these Facebook groups. And I'm like, where the hell's all the Facebook groups?
Right.
Like, why is DFW so freaking weird that they don't have all these investment groups?
Yeah.
And I think DFW is extremely unique, extremely competitive. And for the most part, a lot of us work together.
Dude, you think Salt Lake's bad? I haven't tried Salt Lake, but try Hawaii and Alaska.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like one group, like 26 people. And it's like the one admin, and he posts like real estate investing terms. I'm like, this isn't even a group. So, yeah, it is funny. But even like some of the larger markets that I've gone to, like Phoenix, I mean, it's like they just don't have those groups. They don't have the interaction.
Yeah.
It's like I totally did the whole, hey, I'm a newer wholesaler in this market. Drop your email. I mean, you do that in a DFW group, you're going to get like 150 emails.
Yeah.
I did that in Phoenix. I got like 5. I'm like, what is happening? Like,
it's strange.
I see this all the time. It's like in DFW, you see that happen and it like blows up. Everybody's like, send me deals.
Well, this works here, but yeah.
So it's very interesting. We've got a great market.
All right, Mr. RJ Bates. Most of their questions kind of get answered within the other questions and answers, but how can everybody contact you if they want to get a hold of you, work with you, get a hold of you for Beat Kids Cancer and stuff?
I have a podcast rule when people ask me, because my first ever podcast that I did was with Joe Fairless. and I was so nervous. I was literally pacing in a laundry room at one of my properties, doing it on my cell phone, super high tech. And
Yeah.
He asked me, "What's the best way people can contact you?" And I didn't know he was going to ask me that, and I just gave my cell phone number. And I actually bought 2 properties from that podcast
Nice.
from people calling me on my cell phone number. So if you want to reach me, you can call me at 817-915-6860. But preferably, unless you're trying to sell me a property, don't call me. You can find me on Facebook, RJ Bates III. I've got my podcast, The Titanium Vault. Brandon's been on there. And we're approaching our next week will be our 50th episode. And then Titanium Investments, we're all over Facebook. We have different pages set up for all the different markets, so you can follow us there if you're more curious about one of the markets or the other. So those are the best ways to contact me.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, thanks, man. I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, man.
I learned a lot. I've been taking all kinds of notes. And
that's good stuff, man.
Yeah, I'm sure the audience enjoyed it as well.
Cool, man.
So, yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.